Baik, terima kasih untuk pemaparannya Ibu Pauline. Ya, saya dapat pastikan kita punya pandangan yang lebih terbuka berkenaan dengan spiritualitas anak. Bapak Ibu, perkenalkan saya untuk memperkenalkan speaker kita yang kedua. Dr. Rosalin Tan adalah direktur gitu ya dalam program pendidikan di AJST Alliance. Ya, kemudian untuk background education-nya, dia adalah PhD di dalam bidang education dan sekarang seperti yang tadi saya sampaikan, beliau adalah direktur dari program pendidikan di AJST Alliance. Ya, itu. Kemudian malam hari ini beliau akan menyampaikan pemaparannya dengan satu topik yaitu childhood spirituality and the social emotional well-being of the children. Oke, saya akan stop share. Please, Dr. Rosalin.
To speak bahasa Indo, you have a very good translator. Okay. Tonight, I'm going to build on what Miss Paulina has shared on spirituality, okay, from her book review. I'm going to bring it one step forward, okay, and that's the connection of spirituality with social, emotional well-being of children. Okay. Now, what is social emotional well-being? Social emotional well-being is about feelings, it's about emotions. Okay. It's about how a child, uh, you know, uh, it's about experiences of the child. It's the inner feeling. For many, many years, we have concentrated on the cognitive development. Say 40 years back in school, it was all about cognitive development of children. And teachers were sent for training on how to communicate and build this cognitive aspect of child development. In school, you can see that it is about knowledge. At home, we know that parents always say, go read your book, It was it was important. Cognition was important. But then happened is for the last 50 years, moving to the present, technology has grown. We have AI now. Anything you want, you can just Google. Yeah? You can even get answers from ChatGPT. So the cognitive aspect of a person somehow has taken a back seat. And another domain has risen, and that is looking at the emotions of a person. I wonder whether you have experienced when, experience encountering some children who ignore you, some children who are not able to respond emotionally, kids that you hug and they don't know how to respond. I have hugged children before and they get stiffed. They don't know what to do when you hug them. Uh, you ask, why are these children behaving like this? I have seen children who are so fearful in their life that they are, they are inhibited, they are handicapped, they are not able to reach out to others. They're just full of fear. Now, why are the children in this state? So it has to do with the social, emotional being of children. And having spoken to different caregivers and educators, the general feedback is this. The best way to help difficult children in school, the children who are giving a lot of problems, children who are not wanting to learn, is not to teach them more. It's not to give more homework. It's not to send them to detention, but it's actually to build their social, emotional well-being. So when that aspect is being taken care of, you will see that the child naturally responds. So this evening, when we talk about spirituality and social emotional well-being, we have to put these two key words, spirituality, social emotional being, side by side. When we talk about childhood spirituality, it is a state of being. It's not something you do that make you spiritual. Okay? The things that you do is an expression of your spirituality. But spirituality is a state. Okay? It's a being. It's a state. It is an awareness. And as it was said just now, it's a distinct form of reflective consciousness. Kesadaran, apa ni? Kesadaran reflective. A child who is spiritually connected is able to feel that he or she is part of a bigger picture. It's not just it's me alone. It's not just me alone, but connected to a bigger picture, something somewhere out there. So to be aware is to perceive, to have this feeling. You really are not sure, but you have this feeling, or to be conscious of a presence. It has to do with your senses. And the degree of consciousness is relative. That means there are different degrees. Okay? There are some children who have a lower level of awareness, some have a middle level, some have high level. Now, how does this level develop? Okay? We talk about nurture. That's another topic. But just know that in childhood spirituality, there are different degrees of consciousness. So we cannot compare to say, why are you not like your brother? Okay? Because they are different. And as said, childhood spirituality is a strong feeling of connected with self, with others, with the natural world, and with a higher being. Okay? Some people will call it God, but some people will not. So a better term, technical term, is a higher being. In our context, we call it God. Okay? Let me further explain these four components. And then in the end, I will show how these four components is theologically related. The I self or child self-consciousness enables the child to understand personal experiences. It directs the child to search for meaningful identity. Who am I? Why was I born? Okay. Why was I born in this family and not another family? Okay. Why do I experience sadness? Why is it sometimes I'm happy and sometimes I'm sad? Why was I born a girl and not a boy? Why was I not born? Why was I born at all? Once I visited a refugee school, and as I was walking up the stairs, I noticed a little scribble. I mean, somebody has taken a pencil. One of the kids have taken a pencil and, chonteng on the wall. And it says, I hate myself. It says, I hate myself. So I was wondering, why would a child write that, I hate myself? Somehow this child has come to consciousness, but a very negative consciousness. Okay? For some reason, maybe because the child is a refugee. Okay? But to be self-aware is to be able to think for oneself. And this aspect of self-awareness or self-consciousness is very important because it builds resilience in the child. Okay? It builds resilience. Knowing who I am builds very, very strong resilience, okay, against negative forces in the society as the child, okay, mingles in society. So I self or child self-consciousness has to do with personhood, has to do with knowing who oneself is. And after that comes the second one, that is, I others. I others. Child people consciousness. You realize that there are some children who get along very well. Huh? We call them maybe, extroverts, or we call them sanguines. But this I others or child people consciousness goes beyond that. It is the ability to reach out to other people. Human beings are created to be in relationship. No child should be alone. No, we said no man is an island. Huh? We are not to survive alone. We are supposed to survive or to live in relationship. This is how creation is meant to be. So child people consciousness is when a child becomes aware that they are connected to other people and that they need to reach out and build relationships. So a child who has this child consciousness, you will see that this child will treat people differently. This child perhaps will reach out, in our Asian culture, we'll say, hello uncle, hello auntie, or good morning, or go and talk to your friends. This is child people consciousness. A child who lacks people consciousness isolates himself or herself. Isolate himself or herself, right? For many reasons. And people child consciousness, okay, will later answer the question of who do I have? Who do I have? I have friends, I have family, I have relatives, I have neighbors. You know? The richness of a life with people, okay, is built upon child people consciousness. And every child needs to develop this because the child is born in a family, the child have neighbors, the child will probably go to kindergarten, then to primary schools, to secondary school, and the child will grow up to be in the workforce. Without this child people consciousness, the child will have difficulty relating and building relational dynamics, building relationship with people. Okay? And perhaps if this happened, the child will stand alone. Okay? So I, others, child, people, consciousness, okay, answers the question of who do I have? Okay? Or who do I belong to? Okay? Whose am I? Okay? And then I creation, I will consciousness. At one time, education or schooling or classrooms were limited to just gathering of knowledge, okay? Cognitive gathering of knowledge. If we look at the contemporary school curriculum now, okay, we will see that the more innovative schools, they are actually going back to nature. Bali, green school, forest school, they're all going back to nature. Okay? A whole school built out of just bamboo. I think it's in Bali. Okay? To create that kind of consciousness, back to nature consciousness, a deeper appreciation of the natural world. Okay? I creation, child world consciousness is the child's relational awareness of the natural world. Natural world. Okay? This is from Hay and Nair when they talk about natural world. In other writings by a person called Glenn Cupic, printed by Scripture Union, Children and Spirituality, Glenn Cupic talks about not only the natural world, but the created world as well. Like buildings, art, sculptures, music, poems, all the artsy created things. Okay? To be aware of all this and to show appreciation. The ability shows that the child can think and value his surroundings And this leads to a deeper appreciation of beauty, natural beauty as well as man-made creation. So for those who are interested in I creation, child world consciousness, have your class outside, okay? Take your kids not to the mall, not to the, uh, IT games or whatever. Take them to the paddy fields. Okay? Take them to the seaside. Let them experience and let them connect to the natural world. Last but not least, I got child God consciousness. It is an awareness of presence of a higher being, someone greater than you and I, otherwise known as the other or a divine presence. Now, spirituality is not limited to Christian faith, right? Spirituality is not limited to Christian faith alone, because spirituality is what we call that, the innate, okay? The innate characteristic. That means all human beings are created, with a deep sense of awareness, consciousness. This is the character of every human being created in the image of God, that we have this awareness or consciousness. So in many religious cases, this presence or this divine presence is given a name. If a child is in the Muslim faith, okay, they will call this God Allah. Or if it is a Hindu, they will have names for their divine presence. And of course, for the Christians, this divine presence is found in the God of Jesus Christ. Now, what if a child comes from a background that is agnostic, okay, or atheistic? That means either they don't believe in God, or everything is a God. Okay, then, okay, the interpretation of this other or this divine presence will be made according to how that child is brought up. If the child comes from a background to say that there is no God, so all this presence, okay, the feeling or the awareness of the other is explained away as part of emotions. So I self, I people, I nature, or I natural world, and I God. Now, for a child to come into consciousness is very important. We call it meta consciousness. It is becoming aware. Becoming aware. Meta consciousness is a distinct form of awareness. It is the core of children's spirituality. And out of this awareness arises meaningful aesthetic experiences expressed through the child's religion, culture, family tradition, and personal responses to the mysteries of life. Awareness, meta consciousness or awareness is important because it will help the child to grow into a deeper appreciation and awareness of who our God is. God himself is luminous, that means we cannot see God. Okay? And as Miss Paulina said just now, one of the characteristics of spirituality is mystery sensing, wonder and awe and imagination. How else can the child who have not seen God able to experience his beauty, able to, comprehend his greatness, okay? That God is almighty, God is all wonderful, God is all beautiful. I taught another class on this childhood spirituality, and there was a research done where the statement was, do you mean when you say that God is strong? And the child says, oh, God is strong like Ninja Turtle. God is strong like Superman. God is strong like, Batman or something like that. Oh, God is beautiful. How would a child express it? Oh, God is beautiful. Beautiful like Barbie dolls. So Spirituality as part of mystery sensing helps the child to go beyond all this. All the definitions of Barbie dolls and Batman and superheroes. And by taking the child and being connected to nature, this is where the child will begin to see a bigger picture that God is really great. Look at the stars, the sky, the ocean, the vastness. So that is a connection between these four. Coming back to our question, how is spirituality connected to social, emotional well-being of children? Checking my time. The four categories of relational consciousness frame childhood resilience. And in childhood resilience, we have the four categories of I am. I know who I am. Okay? I know who I am. I am a child of God. I know who I am. I'm the son of so and so. I'm the daughter of so and so. I know who I am because I am a brother or a sister. I have family. I have friends. Okay? I have parents. Okay? I have people who love me. I will is related to the I creation. I will. When a child is connected to the world, to creation, okay, the response is since I become aware of God's beauty in this world, I will make it a point. I will do this. I will do that to ensure that okay, I can be a good steward. And then lastly, I can. Why I can? Okay? I can is about potential, is about hope. In resilience, we are talking about children who are in challenging situations. We have children who have been abused, children who have been traumatized, children in poverty. And these four frames, these four categories, as part of spirituality, can be developed to give that child this ability to fight back. Okay? I may not have good parents, but I have God. I have friends. I have people who care for me. Right? So I have people who loves me, and therefore I am cared, I am loved. Okay? And because of that, I need not succumb to my present situation. I will rise up. I will not be defeated. Okay? I will choose to do good. And I can do good because there are people who's going to help me. There's God who's going to help me. So the four categories of relational consciousness frame childhood resilience. Four categories of relational consciousness also frame a biblical understanding of the child's role in creation. I am made in God's image, and therefore I am. I have a family. May not have an earthly family, but I have a spiritual family, the church. The fellowship of believers become my family. I will be an earth keeper. Okay? Because it is my responsibility. God has given me this role to take care of nature. I wonder whether you have experienced seeing at kids going for a walk in a park. Perhaps one kid will see a caterpillar and say, wow, look, it's a caterpillar. Wow, it's so beautiful. Or it's so strange and odd. Or it could be a kid who sees a caterpillar and choose to smash it. So, spirituality of the child. How do you approach the earth, nature? You've seen children beating dogs, okay? A child who is spiritually aware of his connection or her connection with the world, with others, will not do that. Okay? You see people throwing rubbish out of their car when they're driving. After they finish their drinks or whatever, they just throw the plastic bag out. If that person is aware spiritually of his or her connection with the environment, the person won't do that. Yeah. And lastly, I can hope it's God, because I know that God hears prayer. I know that God never fails. So relational consciousness of spirituality, okay, also frames a biblical understanding and helps the child to understand his or her role in creation. So a deeper level of awareness leads to a higher level of social emotional well-being. Because when the child is settled within himself or herself, that's where the social emotional well-being develops. There is no fear. There is confidence, because the child knows who I am, who I belong to, what I can do, who I can turn to. Okay? Higher level of awareness, higher level of social emotional well-being, higher level of spirituality, higher level of social emotional wellness. So when a child's awareness of social or consciousness develops positively, it contributes to social emotional well-being. I said, the higher the connectedness with self, people, and creation and God, the higher the level of social emotional well-being. I took this picture of the internet. It's on the video, it's on internet, and it shows two children in New York who are actually neighbors, but they have not seen each other for a little while. And one day, they both met on the street, and see the reaction of this little boy, two little boys. This is relational awareness. The kids are just so happy to see one another, and they begin to hug one another. And look at it, it crossed the boundaries of race. So this became a very much viewed video, okay? Relational consciousness. Now, to develop social and emotional well-being in children, we must nurture childhood spirituality, not religion, but childhood spirituality. That is awareness of consciousness in the four categories. Now, I am not, okay, cutting out religion, because religion is a channel of expression for spirituality. Spirituality, okay, is an inborn nature, but it needs to come out. This relational consciousness needs to come out. And this is where our faith, our church plays the important part of giving the space for them to express this spirituality in relating to the people in the church, in understanding oneself as created in the image of God, to be able to contribute not only to the church, but to the outside, to the community as well, okay? In doing missions, connecting with the outside world, to the created and natural world. And lastly, the idea of hope, okay? God, worship, prayer, okay? To express that I-God connection. So the questions to caregivers in closing, parents and children ministry staff, is how do we prepare ourselves to nurture the children in our care so that they can grow in consciousness of self, people, environment, and God? Right? Thank you.